Welcome into Training Camp Report presented by Frontier. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith. And as always, we are here to bring you all the news about the Bucs, show you some look-ins to practice. And man, today we get to start with some pretty dang exciting news that right before we started shooting this, we looked out there and said, wait a minute, who's that guy warming up?
Yeah, for the first time in this camp, Chris Godwin was in the warm-up stretch line. We got a camera on him right there. He has the brace on his knee there. He's working with a trainer at the moment, but as you can see, he's out here.
And
ready
in
to
pads.
Go. He's got pads on. We will wait and see what and all he does, but this is extremely exciting. I tweeted out about it, and I used two exclamation points, which
for you,
I normally wouldn't do.
That's you just screaming, yelling, jumping up and down.
I lost control a little bit, yeah.
Get a handle on yourself here, Scott.
I can't.
I know. No, this is too exciting. I think that any number of exclamation points would have been exciting. It is unbelievable that he's even remotely in this position. Whatever this position is, whatever he does or doesn't do today, the fact that he's even in pads warming up, it's unbelievable. But of course, of all people that we would have thought would be able to come back quickly from an ACL, I feel like Chris Godwin's the guy.
Well,
you knew he would do whatever it took.
Yeah, everybody said right from the beginning that if anybody would make it back quickly, it'd be him, because he's going to be totally devoted to whatever it would take to get back. And it's easy to say that, though, in January. To actually see the results that it happened is just really exciting.
Yeah, that's going to mean so much to this team, especially with that tough start to the schedule during the regular season.
As
much as possible. Well, all right, we are going to talk about some of the other guys that we thought maybe be picking up some of the slack of not having Chris Godwin. The tight ends, Cam Brate spoke to the media the other day, and I wanted to hear what you've heard from him. And of course, without Gronk and potentially without Godwin for some amount of time, we don't really know. What do you think is going to be expected of a guy like Cam Brate?
Well, the thing for Cam that's kind of exciting is it's almost like his career is coming back around, cycling back around, because some years ago, Cam was like 2016 and 2017, he was very much almost an every down guy. He was playing 65% of the snaps, and he really enjoyed that time in his career, and that's when he had his biggest numbers, like a 50-catch season, that kind of thing. And in the years since, when O.J. Howard came aboard, then of course Gronk came aboard, he's been more in a role of a supportive role, more coming in mostly on third downs. And he says it's actually easier when you're in that larger role, because you kind of get in the rhythm of the game rather than being asked to come in on third down and now beat man coverage and score a touchdown in this red zone play. And it's just, I think he's actually very excited about the opportunity to get back into that big-time role. And who wouldn't be, right?
Right, yeah.
And the fun thing is, even no matter how much more he gives you than he would before, because even he said, and as we've also said, this looks like it's going to be a receiver-driven offense. There's just too much talent, and why aren't you going to throw the ball to Mike and Chris Godwin and Julio Jones, et cetera? But he's still going to be that red zone threat for you, as he's been throughout his career. And if we can look at some numbers we have here, look at this. In team history, would you have thought Cam Brate was third in touchdown catches?
That's incredible.
And he's pretty close to passing. He'll probably pass Jimmy Giles this year. Jimmy Giles, part of the Ring of Honor. Obviously, nobody's catching Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see Chris Godwin on that list, too, right?
Yeah.
3 of the top 5 are on this team right now, which obviously has a little bit to do with offensive proliferation and the fact that we've had like 95 touchdown passes in the past 2 years. But still, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I think it's the best number for Cam's career, because it's been a really good career. It's not like Pro Bowl nominations and all pros. He's just been such a solid contributor for the Bucs for so long, and I'm happy for him that he's excited about his role this year.
Yeah, and there have been so many incredible red zone weapons on this team, and as if, Brate, we've seen, he is so clutch in that area. And now we're going to take a look at our Ticketmaster play of the day to see another guy that they added who might be a pretty incredible red zone threat. Mm-hmm. None other than Kyle Rudolph. This was the indoor practice the other day where Brady was taking a day off. And, yeah, we saw Blaine Gabbert getting a lot of the work in the red zone there to Kyle Rudolph. And, yeah, when you say a dart, that's the thing with Blaine Gabbert. Anytime you're catching a ball from him, there's some zip on it.
There's no lack of arm strength.
Yeah.
That was like a quick slant out of the slot by Kyle Rudolph. And as Coach said the other day, when you're talking about all the red zone threats that we have, like Mike Evans, for example, but when you get down there like the 5-yard line, they tend to double those guys. They bracket them so they got them on an inside or an outside route, which often leaves the tight end in either single coverage or some kind of zone. And I think that's what happened there. He was just in a single coverage in the slot, and he just ran a quick slant. The guy couldn't get inside of him.
So how do you see Cam Brate and Kyle Rudolph playing either alongside each other, kind of subbing for each other? How do you see that looking in terms of who gets used for what?
Well, again, Cam thinks that he's going to have a larger role, like maybe more first and second on snaps. So that would indicate that they would use him some in single tight end sets where he has to be able to block. And Coach Bowles said yesterday he's a willing blocker. I think Cam, he spent a lot of time this offseason because he's healthier than he's ever been, and he hasn't had to worry about rehab. He's healthier than he's been in like 6 years. He didn't have to worry about rehab, so he really worked on his game. And he said one of his main approaches was to continue working on his run blocking, which was something he didn't come into the league with because he didn't do that in college. So it's been a work in progress the whole time. But I could also see you using Kyle Rudolph because we know he's a good blocker and also something of a pass-catching threat as your tight end in single tight end sets. But I think where they'll be most useful is when they're on the field together in two tight end sets. Because both of them are threats to go out and catch passes, so you're not giving away to the defense what you're doing when you put those two guys on the field.
All right, well, we are going to take a look back at Wednesday's highlights since the team had yesterday off, and check out these highlights from that day of practice.
Bucs on 3, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Cade Otton, tight end, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was born and raised in Tumwater, Washington, just about an hour south of Seattle. Loved playing sports. My dad was a football coach, my mom was a PE teacher, and my grandpa was the head coach at our high school for 43 years. And so grew up around the game, was the water boy for the high school starting in kindergarten. Just loved playing catch with my dad in the living room, watching NFL Network. I don't think that was super common for like 4-year-olds to watch, but that was my program of choice for the most part. My dad was a huge competitor and taught me a lot about football, and being able to watch my grandpa and just like grow up in a competitive setting, especially around football. I loved every second of it. Right away, it was difficult, this being my first major injury. No matter what the obstacle is, you always have a choice, whether you can either quit or go to work. And so just from the very beginning, I've decided I'm just going to work as hard as I can to get back on the field to contribute to the team as much as I could. And I want to work really hard with the trainers. They've been amazing. Just so many great resources here to heal and get better. And then on the field, I want to help the tight ends as much as I can, help the offense as much as I can, and then just bring energy to the whole team. And so just a mindset thing, and some days are harder than others, but just really got to be intentional about what you're doing and what the goal is. And here it's to win a Super Bowl.
Welcome back into Training Camp Report presented by Frontier. Casey Phillips here with senior writer and editor Scott Smith. There you see Cade Otton, who we just met in Meet the Rookies, and we talked about the tight ends in that first segment, but now we're going to flip to the other side of the ball. We're going to talk about one of those new additions to the defense that I am extremely excited about, Mr. Akeem Hicks. First of all, from an off-the-field standpoint, already I love him. He's so fun. He's so funny. And also, if you haven't seen, they released a Mic'd Up with Vita Vea.
Yeah.
And Akeem is
Featured
in this, and he's delightful. That's all I'm going to say. It's for a gigantic man that can destroy defenders. He has a lovely giggle.
Oh, that's right.
I really enjoy that, and he's just such a fun-loving guy, and I feel like he's such a great addition to that room just for this as well. That not only is he the vet that knows what it takes to win in this league, but he also seems like he makes it fun. And I saw him one day come off on the sideline, and a lot of times guys will high-five the guy coming out or whatever, and somehow just nothing happened. He's like, dang, I don't get any high fives. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, yeah, come on. Like, you could tell he's the guy that knows kind of how to bring that camaraderie, knows what that room needs. So from just an off-the-field standpoint, I'm incredibly excited, much less from an on-the-field standpoint.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that you brought up him and Vita, because he was asked about playing with Vita, and he really enjoys playing next to Vita. And he said he was asked if he'd ever had a teammate quite like him before, and he said no. He's never played with somebody. I think we're talking about a guy with that size and that power. He says he called Vita one of one. So, you know, and it is a good point. The Buccaneers have a lot of size on their defensive front now, and we know how important run stopping is to Todd Bowles and his defense, and look at that.
Jeez.
I mean, in the base defense, we've been seeing Vita and Hicks and Golston, and 6'4", 347, and these are their listed weights, mind you.
Yeah,
I'm not sure 6'5", 324 is right for Akeem Hicks.
I'm going to guess for most of them, they may weigh a little more than this.
I think Will's been up and down in his career depending upon what the team was asking of him. Now that he's playing sort of like a strong side 3-4 end, that's probably pretty accurate right there. But 2 6'6" guys in the middle, that's kind of unusual. Logan Hall's really tall. They both have a lot of length. And then of course Vita and Hicks next to each other.
Yeah, when you look at Golston as when he's the lightweight of the group.
I don't know. They're right next to each other right now. Who's bigger?
I know. Well, so Golston's off camera right now, but
no, but I'm talking about.
Oh, but Vita and Akeem. Yeah, those are some large.
That's a
people.
lot of.
But that's what I'm saying. When Golston is the lightweight.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean.
Of the whole group, that's a crazy group of dudes.
Oh, there he is. He's looking right at us. I think he knows we're talking about him.
You can hear it. The ears are burning. Yeah. I cannot imagine. And I think at one point Bowles talked about liking the intimidation factor even of the get off the bus strategy. That if anybody remembers playing high school sports or any of that you'd watch the other team get off the bus and you'd make a lot of judgments about them. And I'm sure that the NFL is probably a little beyond that, but you never know. That subconscious idea. Right. If I'm seeing Vita and Akeem get off the bus, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm a guard or a center. I'm like, my
it's a long
feeling
day.
A bit tight today.
Yeah, I think I tweaked something there. So Akeem Hicks, I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but just the rotation that you see for those interior guys, how do you see that playing out and the way they want to use them? Because we know that it is so nice to try to bring some fresh legs in there, but also these guys don't like to come out, that they like to play tons of reps. And how do you see all that playing out, and especially depending on the opponent we're going against? Is it more of a what we want to do or what the other team is doing?
I think it just depends on the game. Sometimes you decide, we're going to do what we're going to do, and they'll have to counter it. And sometimes they have particular strengths that you have to play a certain way in order to try to beat them. But I think what we've seen, I think the addition of Akeem Hicks was a really good idea, because if not for the addition of Akeem Hicks, I assume Logan Hall would be starting in the base defense and getting 75% of the snaps. And I personally think it's a good idea not to throw the rookie into that big of a role right away. If he proves that he should be on the field that much along the way, that's fantastic and good, and we'll get him in there. But at this point, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of him and allows him to concentrate probably a bit more on rushing the passer coming in. I'm not saying he's not going to play on any base snaps, but it looks so far in camp like the usual starting lineup in the base 3-4 defense is Hicks and Vea and Golston, and Logan's been more in pass rushing downs. But I think that's a good start for him. I think that's where the Bucs want him to start, and then eventually as he gets acclimated to the league, his role gets bigger and bigger.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back for one more segment, and we are going to take a look at Camp Cam, which was from Wednesday, which is, of course, Tom Brady's birthday, and the guys had some nice messages for him.
Happy birthday, old man. Happy birthday, Tom. Happy birthday.
Nope. Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, young man.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday, Tommy.
Happy birthday, Tom. Oh, my goodness. Happy birthday.
Wish Tom back. Hey, happy birthday, Brady, but also happy birthday to my mother, man. It's her birthday today, too. Two goats' birthday today, but I can't beat that.
Nah, I'm good.
All right. I'm kidding. Happy birthday, Tommy. Goodness. Say it. Say it.
Happy birthday, 12.
What's up, my guy? Tom Brady, the GOAT.
Hey, happy 54th.
54th.
No,
45th.
45th.
Happy Get Live 45 day to you, my guy. Wish you many more years. Wish you all the success. You like a robot, you don't age. And, help me win another Super Bowl. Thank you for
Eat some
coming
cake
here.
today, man. Break the diet. TB, happy birthday, dog. Love you.
Happy birthday to the GOAT, man.
Happy birthday, Tom. I have my first son. I'm going to name him after you.
Happy birthday, 12er. Love you, bro.
Hey, Tom. Fred. You don't know me. I'm the city for. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tom. It's great.
Steeny.
Yeah.
Steeny.
Happy birthday, Tom.
I'm a big fan, still a big fan, always will be. Tom Brady, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Happy birthday. Go green.
Logan Hall, defensive line, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hometown, I would say, is Belton, Texas. Growing up, I was a military child, so I moved around, bounced around a lot. As far as my family, really great family, really great support system. Got a lot of love and admiration for what they did for me growing up. My first sport was soccer, then I went to t-ball, and eventually track and field kind of became my first love. Spent the most time doing that. And obviously as I grew into the big guy I am now, that kind of wasn't in the cards for me. So transitioned to D-line, and I've been playing football for a long time now. I just got older, got more mature, my body matured, my mind matured. But yeah, the game really did slow down for me, 100%. It brings a number of things, it's stress relief, stability, routine, relationships, camaraderie, challenges. It brings everything.
Another day, another dollar. It's good to be home.
Really excited to, get sacks, but really excited, to work with the guys like Vita Vea, Will Golston, a lot of the outside backers we have. I think we have a lot of talent amongst the rushers from a technique standpoint. Those guys are really vets and professionals, and they display that on the field. And not even just, asking questions, just watching them and seeing how they perform and do things. I've learned a whole bunch in my short time here.
Welcome back into Training Camp Report presented by Frontier. Casey Phillips alongside senior writer and editor Scott Smith. And we just met Logan Hall, another guy that's going to be an important addition to this defensive line. Going to be interesting to see. But we also wanted to remind everybody, in case you tuned in late or weren't at the very top of the show, that Red Alert, Chris Godwin is doing things. He's out there in pads. We don't know the extent of which he's going to practice today or what he's going to be doing. He's been working with a trainer off on the side, doing some different little exercises and then catching the football a little bit. And again, he's in pads. He's out there. This is the first time we've seen him warming up with the team and in pads, so it's exciting.
Yeah, and they're doing special teams right now, so he wouldn't be in that drill anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So he, just a minute ago, finished up a little session with Kevin Garber, catching a bunch of passes, and then right after that, he started doing some drills on his own where he was stopping really hard and planting. He was planting very hard on both knees, and he's wearing a brace on his knee, which isn't surprising when he comes back. But again, like we said at the top of the show, this is just fantastic news. Incredible
news. Well, let's talk about another guy in that wide receiver room, the very crowded wide receiver room. And now if Godwin's going to be coming back even sooner than expected, that could definitely affect some of these guys trying to make a spot. But Devin Tompkins, an undrafted guy, and a guy that it's been so interesting because he came in without a lot of fanfare, but then Bowles shouted him out in spring ball. And anytime a coach singles out a guy that's undrafted,
one guy, he was the only one
that when asked who stood out or who are you most excited to watch in camp, this was the name of the whole team that he brought out there, which is so interesting. And especially maybe when you're sometimes trying to hide a guy from other teams, to hope you could maybe bring him back or something. Too late on that front. So what do you feel like it is about Devin Tompkins that could make Todd Bowles want to shout him out, or that maybe would give him, in such a crowded wide receiver room, a shot to be one of the guys to make the roster or at least practice squad?
Well, let's meet him here first. You see here, he came in as an undrafted free agent rookie, didn't get drafted. Bucs signed him after that. He's from Fort Myers. That did play a little bit. We had him on our Salty Dogs podcast, shameless plug. That did play a little bit in his decision to come here because he had some options. Played at Utah State. He's listed at 5'8", 155, maybe on the 5'8", maybe.
I think,
I'm 5'8".
Yeah, I would say his pro day measurement was not quite 5'8".
Right.
But
So somewhere
we'll
in
give it
that
to
range.
him. He's got the spirit of a 6-footer, though,
Yeah. And well, I'm going to get to that. And you saw his numbers there, over 100 catches, 1,700 yards. Funny thing is, those would usually be numbers that would lead the nation. But he gets here, and his teammate, another undrafted rookie, Jer Stearns, actually had higher numbers than that and won the Triple Crown. But it doesn't matter. Those are enormous numbers. And, and you were talking about playing 6 feet. I don't want to overhype this because, like you said, this all comes from the fact that Todd Bowles called his name out. So we've been paying special attention to him. If he'd have said that about Jer Stearns, we'd be talking about Jer Stearns right now. But I have seen in the last couple practices some of the plays that I can understand why he's jumping out to the coaches. And one of them, like he told us on our podcast, is people are surprised at how high he gets up to catch passes. Like we said, he's not the biggest guy. But he gets up, he has serious ups and catches passes over the middle that are thrown very high. And then I saw one of those in Tuesday's practice. Then in Wednesday's practice, when they were in the indoor facility in there, he had a play where he caught a short pass near the right sideline. And he made it, after catching the pass, he made an immediate move to move inside to try to get around two defenders. And then just on a dime, suddenly cut back the other way. They're the kind of things that you can't teach.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
saw
see
that
play?
same exact play, and it elicited from the sideline I was on, and ooh,
Yeah.
then
because
everyone's like, dang.
You can't teach that.
No.
You either can do that or you cannot.
It looked like a video game move.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
He was going one way, then all of a sudden he was going the other on a dime.
And if I had done that, half of me would still be
Yeah,
over there.
two torn
Two torn
ACLs.
ACLs, everything done.
Yeah, and he got around the two defenders that way. So that's the kind of exciting thing that a guy like that can give you. It's so crowded in the receiver room, so I don't want to overhype this. It's still a big uphill battle for him or any of the undrafted guys to make the roster, but he might make it. He might make them. Might keep 7. And even if he doesn't make the 53 to start the season, I would think he's done enough now that if they can get him through waivers, that he would go to the practice squad. And really, the practice squad has been the launching point for a lot of great careers. And also now with those practice squad elevation rules, that makes those guys on the practice squad more important. They can be in a game at any time, even without being signed to the active roster. So it's kind of exciting for the young guy. Again, if you want to hear more from him and about him, listen to our Salty Dogs podcast with Jeff Ryan. It's on Buccaneers.com and a number of other places. And he's a very mature kid. And when you hear his story, you'll know why.
Yes.
But it helps, I think. He says he feels like it helps. That's part of the reason why he's doing well. It helped him to come in here with this sort of mature outlook.
Yeah, that's true. And also, shameless plug, we talked about the Salty Dogs. I'm also going to do a slice with him after practice today.
Fine, whatever.
I know.
But that won't be out until when?
We don't know yet.
Salty Dogs is
already
up.
That's what I'm saying. Listen to that, and then also watch Slice. Everybody, we're all excited to
We're gonna
talk to
bring
him.
him
This
to you
tells
from
you
every angle.
This tells you how excited we are about his story. That he is.
It's a good story.
It's a good story. He's
We're
a
not
great
gonna
guy.
spoil it.
We aren't going to spoil all the things. You got to watch the other content. That's how it works here. So, do you see him being someone that could contribute on special teams, either in coverage or as a return guy?
Yeah, I mean, because of his size, he's not the first guy you think of as a cover guy, although we did see Scotty Miller, who's a little bit bigger than him. We did see Scotty Miller doing some gunner work last year, and it actually was pretty effective because he was down the field so fast that he was forcing the guy the other way. But as a return man, that's a possibility. He's done some return work. We were just talking about how shifty he is in the open field. And, I mean, that's probably Jalen Darden's job to lose, and Coach Bowles says that Jalen's having a good camp. But you never know. If you can give you some value in that way, you can not only make the roster, but have a helmet on game days.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us on this edition of Training Camp Report presented by Frontier. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy all of the post-practice coverage out here, and then come back
Chris
tomorrow.
Godwin is back.
And Chris Godwin is back. We're just going to keep hyping that up. Chris Godwin is back, and we will be back tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.